See, so in today's class, we are about to discuss GS tool. Yeah, part of GS tool, international relations. So the today's topic is India's neighborhood. So before going into this topic, okay, so we will have some kind of a warm-up session. Okay, let us go for what is actually happening, okay, in and around the world, and how we have to see from the lens of UPSC, and what is the current trend of asking the questions. Okay, see, when you see this is, so I have taken the last 5 years question. So in last year they have asked the question with regarding to India's Africa's digital partnership. See, when you see the newspaper, the very important, limitation of the IR is the sole notes for IR is only from your newspapers. Okay, there is no static part at all. So it is highly dynamic session. I mean, it is a dynamic part of the GS paper. Okay. So if you have the thorough, reading and understanding of the articles from April, May, June, July, okay, so then you have the maximum 90% capacity to answer the question. See, when you take this India-Africa digital partnership, the same month of June last year, so our Honorable Prime Minister have visited Ghana and other neighboring African countries in terms for long-term institutional partnership, especially, we have this National Payment Corporation of India. Yes or no? So how, in what way this India can support Africa in developing their payment systems? Okay. So what are the things we have achieved through our experience? Okay. For example, when you take the problem of Africa, still food security is a problem of Africa. Whereas where we had the same problem in 1965. Yeah. And through the food revolution, that is the green revolution, we are able to sort out that problem. And today India is a surplus, production of agriculture, right from vegetables, fruits, food grains. So the aim of India with Africa is sharing our experiences of development to them, not from the point of dictating, dictating manner. See, I am going to share this or that, but on the platform of a mutual respect. See, this is a very basic skeleton of India's approach towards Africa. Okay. So when you take the last month, June, so our Prime Minister was in constant tour in Africa, and that has appeared in the. Next is, with the waning of globalization, post-Cold War is becoming a site of sovereign nationalism. So this is a question that is very basically asked from the architecture of the global international relations. On what platform? Okay, on what platform these changes are happening? So this is where you have to see the UPSC from the point of the basics. Yes. See, to go further into this topic, okay, how to understand this question, I will go little further into what? The background of, okay, this question with respect to the current scenario. Okay. See how you have to approach this question for exam. So that you can have an idea. Okay. See, when you take the very famous the international issue of today. Okay. So what is a very famous international issue? It is the Russian-Ukraine war. Yes or no? I mean, sorry. It is the US and Iran war. So when you want to see this, how to understand this US and Iran war, then you have to go back, okay, some 200 years before. So what is that? See, you have something called as historical economic research papers. What is historical economic research papers? So they will take down the course of the economic trends that happens in the history for the past 200 years. See, when you take this historical research papers, there is something, a word called global divergence. What is that word? Global divergence. What this word global divergence actually mean? It means, you all know this, the Silk Route. Yes or no? So it extends from the Europe to the South Asia and China, especially it is a trading route. See, what does this global divergence actually says is, during the 1750s, when you take the global GDP contribution by the countries, okay, China alone contributes, okay, up to 37%, okay, of the global produced goods. When you take India, more than 26% of the GDP, that is the total goods produced from the India, I mean the world, or used by the world, is comes from where? China and India. Yes, India and China. So when you take China and India together, almost more than 65%, nearly about 65% of the global GDP, the total goods that is produced in the world, comes from where? From the Asia alone. Okay? Yes. So what happened? In Europe, you had this occurrence of industrial revolution. Yes. So what happened? What industrial revolution has introduced to this world? Yes. So the all kind of the manual production is replaced with the machines. Machines accumulates profits. Okay, and there was an emergence of new class called the capitalism. Yes, and what this capitalism does? The capitalism divides the society into two: the owners and the workers. It divides the nation into two: the bourgeois, I mean, it is the upper class, and what? The proletariat class, that is a working class. Yes. So as the capitalist accumulate more and more power, it emerges from the country and it try to establish a global capitalistic architecture. Yes or no? For this global, capitalistic architecture, they introduced a new political concept called as what? Imperialism. Can you understand? So what this imperialism does? The imperialism, what it does? Next page, everybody. So what this imperialism has done? The imperialism has introduced the another political, the another economic concept of invention called colonialism. Yes. So during 1750s, when you take the contribution of the global GDP by the countries, almost 65% of the production is coming from where? From Asia. After the emergence of the global capitalism, after a new concept of imperialism, political tool, that is a political You can say that the political theory of imperialism came that invented further the colonialism. Yes, it led to the exploitation, yes, of the indigenous industries of China and India. What happened? When you take in 1900, okay, when you take this 1900, the contribution of India to the global GDP is only 2%. And the contribution of China to the global GDP is what? 6%. You understand? So now what happened? Once upon a time, the global economy or the East Asia is one of the center of production. Yes, and through the imperialism and the colonialism, this center of production has diverted to where? To the West. So there is a shift of economy from the East towards what? West in just 200 years. How it happened? It happened through imperialism and colonialism. And what is another term called in the historic economic research papers you can find is the other word is the global convergence. So what do you mean by global convergence? Global convergence means what is the current situation of the global GDP production? China alone contributes to 40% of the total goods. Yes or no? You have an emergence of an intermediate economic countries, that is the BRICS countries. Yes, China, India, Brazil. Yes, so now again in 1980s, when you take the Europe, the European countries, in European countries, you have well organized, the trade unions. In order to weaken the negotiating capacity of the trade unions, Prime Minister of UK like Margaret Thatcher, they took an initiative of shifting their production centers from Western country towards what? Eastern countries. And that has led to what? A global convergence. So what is this global convergence? Again, India and China is becoming the production centers of the world. Whereas when you take the Western countries and the current superpower of the world, that is US, they're all focused on what? The finance. Yes or no? The capital. They try to hold the capital. For that, they have created international institutions like what? World Bank, IMF. Yes or no? So this is what is called as global convergence and global divergence. Yes. So this was facilitated. This global convergence was facilitated by a new political concept called globalization. Yes. So what this globalization means? Globalization means breaking the boundaries. Yes or no? Breaking the boundaries. There is no nationalism. You are not Indian. I am not a Pakistani. We are all what? Human beings, upholding human rights and pushing and leading this world towards a world-class citizen. That is the aim of what? Globalization. Yes. So as globalization concept was accepted at majority of the countries, it means right from China up to India, everybody, they have accepted the globalization concept. They have opened up the trade. They integrated in terms of market, in terms of culture. Yes or no? So in paper 1, you have a very important syllabus. What? The impact of globalization on India, on India's culture, India's population. Yes or no? So this globalization has dissolved the boundaries of the countries and it further nurtured, it fertilized what? The integration of the economy. Yes, what happened? Global convergence happened. When the global convergence happened, when the Western countries, especially after 2015, or you can say that 2015, they felt that the economy is shifting from the West towards where? East. So now what this Western country is about to plan? Break this globalization. When you want to break this globalization, what is the exact opposite term to this globalization? We are all world citizens. No, I am an Indian. We are all world citizen. No, make America great again. We are all world citizen. I want to get out of this European Union. That is Brexit. And this is what is called as the sovereign nationalism. So emergence of the economic nationalism. Can you understand? Able to integrate. So this is so you have 3 questions. I mean, you have 4 questions. In 4 questions, one question is this, and second question is regarding the global architecture. Okay. And when you see the third question, the energy security, okay, the dominant kingpin of the India's foreign policy. See, when you take this in the definition of what is India's foreign policy, what might be the definition of India's foreign policy or any country's foreign policy? Yes, it is not about projecting that India is an ideal country. During Jawaharlal Nehru, or when you take even in the Indian National Congress in 1944, we gave a proclamation. What is that proclamation? The aim of Indian National Congress is not to get freedom from the British people, but to uphold the human rights, to uphold exploitation. Yes, we will raise our voice wherever injustice happened to the human civilization. Okay, so we had an idealistic approach then, since 1945, 1950s, and especially after the experience of the Indo-China War, we have started moving towards idealism to what? Realism. In this realistic factor, what might be the definition of Indian foreign policy is, Indian foreign policy means we need to make India a modern country. Modern country means what? We need infrastructure. We need a well-organized cities. We need no slum clearance cities. We need fertilizers. Yes or no? We need technology. Yes, we need all kind of resources, whether it may be technology or it may be oil, that is the energy, or it may be the zinc, okay, that is needed for what? The phosphorus that is needed for the fertilizers, whatever might be. See, what is foreign policy? Foreign policy is we are going to have, okay, relationship with countries that is needed for India to make India a modern country. Okay, to make Indian people to consume the necessary goods they need. For example, we may say that, yes, India's competitor is China, but it is actually not. When you take our India-China relationship, okay, the trade deficit have exceeded $100 billion. Okay, $100 billion. It means what? India's trade deficit with China, it means what? India is importing more from China and we are exporting less to China. Okay, when a question was raised against the economic affairs minister, see, what is this? We have exceeded $100 billion of trade deficit with China. Yes, is it healthy? You are saying that we are against China, China is our competitor. I want a clear idea about that. For that, the minister says, see, we are importing only the raw materials. The raw materials that is needed for the chemical industries, pharmaceutical industries, solar industries, renewable energy industries. Okay, the electronic diodes, the electronic, resistors, capacitors, all that is needed to manufacture what? Cell phones, that is made in India. So the raw materials that is imported from China helps India's what? Made in India program, Make in India program. Can you understand? So our economy is a coupled economy. So you have to see from the different. At the same time, we are not going to compromise on our what? Security issues. Yes. See, likewise, when you take this energy security, okay, it is linked with what? The Middle Eastern countries. So this is a question that is related to India's needs. It may be technology. Yes, 3 to 5 years before, this question might be regarding to what? Technology. Technology to produce vaccines. Technology to make India a self-reliance in what? Defense manufacturing, because we are importing a lot defense equipments. Yes or no? So this, in the last 2 years, it is what? Is about what? Energy. Because that is a crisis. Even today, there is a crisis. You can expect the same question, okay, this year also. So energy crisis, diversification of energy resources. We should not depend on one country. Okay, we have to go for what? The other countries. You should not focus only in the Western, the Middle East. You have to look for the supply from Africa. You have to look for the supply from where? South America. You have to Strengthen your relationship of supply with what? Russia. Diversification of resource. Okay. And when you take this, the reform process in United Nations remains unresolved because of the dictated imbalance of the East and the West. Again, the same question. Okay. So this is about the theoretical concept, where it is the real-time question. What is a real-time question? The Western countries were able to keep up this divide of the West and the East. Yes, we say it as a core countries. Core countries means those countries which are rich in capital, which they have technology. And you have the peripheral countries. Peripheral countries means it is a poor countries. It is a developing countries where they are devoid of capital, devoid of technology, where they are looked as a market by the core countries. And how they are able to maintain this divide? They were able to maintain this divide through international institutions. IMF, World Bank, yes, and the United Nations. You have this United Nations Security Council. Okay, so if you want to make this East-West divide to solve, then you have to make reforms where? Yes, in the international institutions. Yes or no? So what is the actual issue? For example, when you take India, India asked, put me inside what? The United Nations Security Council. If you guys doesn't have the capacity to solve the world current issues through which we were affected the most, what we have done? You give a chance to me. Okay, I try to handle it. So India wants to expand the United Nations Security Council, whereas the Western country doesn't want to. India wants to expand the weightage that is given to each and every country in IMF. Yes, but the Western countries doesn't want to. Yes or no? So when you take the current situation, the Western countries that is led by the US is on one side. The Russia and China is on the other side. Yes, and what India is doing? So India is looking for, yes, the kind of engagement in both sides. Yes or no? The very important identity of India is what? We are a colonial country. Yes or no? That is our identity. Yes, you know the current political, the very important political, you can say that the group of countries is the global south countries. What is the global south countries? The global south countries means all the countries that is been colonially exploited is called global south countries. Yes or no? So the identity of colonialism, the identity that I am a nation country, identity that I am once upon a time exploited by the Western countries, yes, is giving us a platform to reach African countries. Yes or no? When I go to African country, I'm going to put a trade with the African country. What will be the fear factor? Oh my God, why you are helping to? In some way, you are going to dominate my economy. No, I'm not. I'm with you. I'm a person like you. Yes, I'm a country which underwent this what? This colonialization. Yes or no? We are one of the country like you affected by imperialism and what? Colonial. So this is a kind of what? Trust factor. Yes. So here, so this is where the East and West divide. So almost, as I said, China is contributing to 40% of the global production. Automatically, it became what? The inevitable power in the global economy. Yes. And when you take this US is very adamant now. It doesn't want to reforms in the international institution. So this question is regarding to that. See how simple it is. Yes or no? See, these are all the current trends. Okay. And the question that is asked, okay, with respect to the global architecture, with respect to the basics. Okay, that's all. The basics of the current structure. Okay. So when you take the 2024, the 2024 was also the West is fostering India's alternative to reduce dependency on China supply chains. Yes, why the West want to reduce the dependency on China supply chains? Do they hate China? Do they don't love the quality of Chinese goods? No, not at all. Okay. Production is actually the power. Yes or no? Yes, how UK became very rich. How London Bridge is not falling down until today? Because it is all Indian money. It earned through supplying the manufactured goods. It earned by supplying opium to whom? China. That only makes countries rich. Okay. So now, India, I mean, the Western is fostering India. Fostering means it is supporting India for what? See, we need to diverge the imports. We should not solely depend on whom? China. Yes. So why we should not depend on China? Because China is emerging as a superpower that will challenge our position today, what we are enjoying. So what we have to do? Diversify the imports. India is now looking at the opportunity from the west side this time. Yes or no? West side means, oh my God, this is an opportunity for us. We don't have that much of infrastructure. We don't have that much of raw material. We don't have technology. We don't have skilled persons. India is slowly developing because we are a democratic country. We need to undergo more cultural evolution. Yes or no? So India is looking for this as an opportunity and approaching US, approaching Western countries, transfer me technology, give me capital, investment in my country. Yes or no? So India is seeing this conflict as an opportunity for India. But when it comes to climate change negotiation, yes, when you take the Hindu Kush mountain, it causes almost 8 to 9 countries, 9 states of India. Yes or no? Every glacier burst, every cloud burst, India is losing 3,000 to 4,000 crores. Who is responsible for that? We are not responsible for that. It is the Western country, those are responsible for that. Yes or no? So we need to demand the justice, the liability, the loss and damage liability. Yes or no? During that period, we will stand with whom? Russia. We'll stand with China. We'll stand with BRICS. We'll stand with other countries. When you want the reforms in United Nations, we'll stand with the country. So this is how India pushes itself. Okay. So this is the same, thing. Next, critically analyze the evolving diplomatic, economic, strategic relations with Central Asian republics, highlighting the increasing significance in regional and global politics. This is also that year's current, geopolitics. You know about the Central Asian republics. Yes, you may see about Uzbekistan, and these countries, they are rich in minerals. Okay, they're rich in natural gas. Yes, and if India wants to move towards, for example, when you take Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan is having one of the world's richest uranium deposits. Yes or no? India needs what? Uranium. Yes, India has not signed NTPT. India has not signed the CTPT. Yes, we need to get engaged with countries where India's resources, what we don't have, can be supplied by that countries. Yes or no? So in that way, this is the Central Asian Republic. So you must know about this North-South, International North-South Economic Corridor. Okay, what this North-South Economic Corridor? It is an attempt to bypass the Suez Canal, and we are finding an alternative route to reach what? Europe. Alternative to reach what? The other Central Asian countries. That is a North-South corridor. Yes. And what is exactly opposite to? It is exactly opposite to the BRI. So what is BRI? The Belt and Road Initiative. So what is China's Belt and Road Initiative? See, when you take this China's Belt and Road Initiative, the entire imports, the energy imports of China happens through the South China Sea. Is that or no? South China Sea. It happens through South China Sea. When you take this entire import happens through the South China Sea, next page, click on that. Yeah. Okay. See, when you take this China, for a country's growth, what is needed? Energy is needed. Yes or no? So for China's import, whether it may be oil or export, whether it may be goods, it is determined by two states. One is the Malacca Strait. The other one is the Suez Canal. Yes, if it want to be independent, because you might know about the Strait of Hormuz. What is today's war has taught to us? Apart from this shift of convergence and divergence of economy, the strategic position of handling a very important point or very important geographical area, how it totally altered the course of the war. Yes or no? When you take Iran and US, both are asymmetric countries. You cannot imagine Iran's position with respect to US. You cannot imagine the Israel's technology with what? Iran. They are asymmetric countries. But Iran able to withstand this war. It doesn't won the war. It has able to withstand the war. How? Because it has the ability to convert this regional conflict of Iran into a regional conflict. Yes or no? Into a global conflict. Yes or no? Yes. So the entire economy of the world gets staggered because of what? By controlling Gulf of Hormuz. Yes. So now India cannot depend on Suez Canal. India cannot depend on Hormuz. If you want to reach other countries, we need to find alternative routes. Yes or no? That is a compulsion today. That might be the question this year. Yes. What are the challenges of India? Okay. In having this North-South economic corridor and this international, this IMEC, in the Europe, we have an alternative route. Okay. So that is the question related to that. Okay. Next, terrorism is becoming a global threat. Peace, evaluate the effectiveness of the United Nations Security Council Terrorism Committee and associated bodies and meeting this threat at international level. See, this is a very, very, very important success of India as a global. You all know about Mumbai attack that happened in 2008. When Mumbai attack happened, all our admirals and our lieutenants were all on the knees and they were all in the Prime Minister's office. Sir, just leave it out. We will sabotage what? Pakistan. But India took an alternative decision. What is it, alternative decision? The decision is not a new trend that is created by the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. It is a then decision that was taken right from Indira Gandhi. So Indira Gandhi, Madam, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, she is the architect of Indian foreign policy. She invented a new word called the strategic autonomy. We will take decision for our own benefits. I am that not to convince the Western countries. I am not that to convince the USSR. I need to take decisions that convince myself. Yes or no? That supports the need of my country. Yes. So when you see this question, yes, when the West Pakistan attacked East Pakistan, and there were so much of refugees, lakhs and lakhs of refugees are entering into India, and India is not able to handle the situation. Unrest, murder. Yes or no? When huge lakhs of refugees comes, what they will do? They will kill all, they will drive away the indigenous people and they will occupy the land. Yes or no? So Indira Gandhi, Madam, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Madam, she took a decision. She went to all Western countries. Look what the West Pakistan is saying, doing to East Pakistan. Yes, you all know the issue. That is the Bangala is being dominated by the Urdu. So Indira Gandhi, ma'am, took this issue to the global countries. She appealed to the global countries. She went to all European countries and US and USSR. She personally represented the issue. And no countries, when they have shown their interest in resolving the issue, India took itself its decision. You all know about Operation Vijay. We created a new country called what? Bangladesh. Likewise, when you take the Operation Sindoor is not an instantaneous decision. Before that, to accept the decision of India, you should know some kind of diplomatic establishments. And what is a diplomatic establishment? After Mumbai attack, yes, India took the issue of terrorism to the whole world. Yes, It went to country and said what Pakistan is doing. It is financing what? Terror training programs, Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. Yes or no? It highlighted all the kind of the terror camps that has been financed by the Pakistan with proof. Yes or no? And seeing this India's diplomatic appeal, Western countries, US countries, they were all quite, raise the eyes of looking at India, because India is a nuclear power nation. In spite of that, it believed in international institutions. It believed in resolutions through what? International institutions. It believed, it made an appeal in United Nations. It made an appeal in United Nations Security Council, and it was the chairman of the Counter-Terrorism Committee of United Nations. Yes, and that has worked so well. You might see in the newspapers that the Pakistan has been listed in the grey list for terror financing frequently. Yes or no? Yes. And when you take this is a very important, in that way, terrorism has become a significant threat to the global peace and security. Evaluate the effectiveness of United Nations Security Council Counter-Terrorism Committee and associated bodies addressing and mitigating this threat at the international level. Okay, this is a quite challenging question because India believes in international institutions to solve this problem. But what happens? When the Jaish-e-Mohammed leader Masdoor was being, when India passes a resolution against the Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, using this United Nations Security Council veto power, China is declining that appeal. Yes or no? Yes, China is supporting Pakistan by countering India's terrorism appeal in United Nations. That is a challenge. Yes. And finally, we believed in these international institutions when all hope lost for the last 10 years. When the whole world understood that India is so polite, India believes in peace, India doesn't want war, but in spite of them, it is an inevitable retaliation. Yes or no? That is why we say that Operation Sindoor is not a war between India and Pakistan. It is a precise, highly measured, okay? It is a precise, highly measured response. Yes or no? For what? For the infiltration of terrorists into India. Okay? So in that way, this is a critical analysis thing. Yes. So you have to, so this is also the current affairs, that time current affairs. Okay? Discuss the geopolitical and geostrategic importance of Maldives. Focus on global trade and energy flows. This is also the current issue. Because you all know this, during the period of 2024, Indian Ocean, that is the Indo-Pacific trade route, has become a very important, crucial place of international politics. Yes, you might be known about this, China's refusal to accept the judgment of the UNCLOS, something called as United Nations Convention Law on Sea. What it has given a judgment? It has given a judgment that the Spratly Islands and the Parcel Islands adjacent to the Philippines doesn't belong to whom? China. Yes, but China has refused to accept the order. So this was taken as a symbol or a sign of assertiveness of China in Indian Ocean. What happened? Oh my God, China is showing its assertiveness. Where countries like India, they believe in international institutions that is given in our direct principle of state policy as our foreign policy. We abide the global institutions. So in very important core value of India's foreign policy is we obey the international institutions, but China has not obeyed it. So it is a sign of assertiveness. It wants to dominate the Indian Ocean. So the entire the focus of the world countries, right from France, right to US, right to Japan, it all focused on the Indian Ocean. And among this Indian Ocean, there are two important players at the top of the Indian Ocean. Whom? One is the Maldives, other one is what? Sri Lanka. So China is having a very important tool. See, we share our experience. China share its money. We call it as a check diplomacy. Yes, this China, this Sri Lanka and Maldives, they are very poor countries. They need money. in the diplomatic approach of helping to build their infrastructure, China is giving so much of money to Sri Lanka and making them debt to China. Yes, and it is making the all kind of deal to be signed by whom? Sri Lanka. So it is able to hold the countries through check diplomacy, making the countries debt to China. So recently, one like issue that when Sri Lanka has suffered from the sovereign bonds, India helped generously and bailed out it. Okay. So likewise, when you take Maldives or when you take India neighborhood relationship, you have to see all the countries from Chinese factor. Whether it may be Nepal, whether it may be Bangladesh, whether it be Myanmar or Bhutan, yes, the core India neighborhood foreign policy, yes, has to be seen from the lens of what? Chinese factor, the influence of China. You understand? Yes. So in that way, when you take in 2022, the Prime President of Maldives has voiced they said, India go out. And again, in the last 2 years, Maldives has invited India. Yes, let it be the part of this. What you can say that the the Maritime Sagar Mala scheme. Okay, so where we work together both in developing maritime security, economic integration. India is about to build a solar power plant of hospitals. Okay, so much of funds and grants. Okay, so this Maldives is also that time current affairs. Okay, likewise when you see this 2023, the virus is affecting the functioning of SCO in the light of the above statement. Again, the same question. What is SCO? Shanghai Cooperation Organization. What is the aim of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? That is this question is an editorial that came during 2023, exact editorial. Okay. So what is the aim of Shanghai Cooperation? You know that the Western countries, yes, through NATO, they are consolidated. What is NATO? North Atlantic. Now NATO has no meaning. That is a very important point, because when US called up these NATO countries to support the war against Iran, all the NATO countries refused. NATO is now meaningless. But it is one of the very important what? Political alliance. What is NATO? NATO is a political alliance. How we can understand political alliance? See, when Chinese government criticized what? Small circle people. Small circle means what? USA, India, and then what? Japan, Australia. This is Quad group. India repeatedly make it clear that Quad is not a military alliance. We have not targeted any countries. This is a group for development. This is a group for maritime safety and security. That's all. Yes or no? No group should be put their identity themselves as what? I am a maritime alliance. Okay, but NATO is only one single organization, or you can say that one prominent organization that targeted one country. What is that country? The aim of NATO is to control the expansion of USSR. Russia, to control Russia. Yes. So you have a West grouping. Yes or no? G7 countries. It's a West grouping, the grouping of the richest countries of the West. Yes. So you are, as I said, there is two divide. One is the West divide. The other one is the East divide. This is a product out of colonialism. This is a product out of imperialism. West is rich, East is poor. West has more political powers. East doesn't have political powers. West is more weaponized. East is less weaponized. Yes or no? West is dominating in all global institutions, where Eastern countries not dominating all global institutions. And that is why under the leadership of Russia and China, we have created Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So what is Shanghai Cooperation Organization? Eastern countries has to unite. Yes. Why Eastern countries has to unite? We are having problems. When you take India, we have a border issue from Nepal. That is a very important current affairs. You may expect a question. Because like we use Pakistan in our political agenda during the elections, In Nepal, they use India as a political agenda. See, India is occupying our land. These leaders are supporting India. Don't vote for them. This is a scenario that is being carried on where? In Nepal. The border dispute of Nepal is a political agenda against the ruling party. And what is the Prime Minister says? The Prime Minister says to the media that, see, before elections, I thought that India is having Nepal's land. But after coming to power only, I am able to understand that we are also holding some of the land of India. So we have to go for a consensus. We have to go for a compromise. We need to go for a negotiation. Yes or no? So when you take India, we have a border dispute with Pakistan, we have a border dispute with Nepal, we have a border dispute with Bangladesh, but it is well sorted out. Okay, in 2022, it was in a very nice manner. We have solved our dispute problem, land dispute problem. Likewise, when you take, we have a land dispute problem with whom? China. So because of this border issue, yes, when you take India and China, they are global superpowers. One of the most populated country of the world. Yes or no? Yes, they don't have any other issue except fighting for this no man occupied land. Yes or no? That is a cold desert, Galwan Valley. It's an inhabitable area. There grows nothing, but we are fighting for that, and the whole diplomatic relationship between India and China is affected by that agreement. And we are not responsible for that agreement. Those agreements are made during the British period. Likewise, all the Asian countries, whether it is Kyrgyzstan, whether it is Turkmenistan, whether it is Kazakhstan, whether it is Uzbekistan, all the countries, they have their own border disputes with the neighboring countries. So if you want to unite these Asian countries into one single organization, we have to solve our problem in a peaceful manner. We have to solve our border issues in a very diplomatic, engaged manner. Yes or no? So the aim of the Shanghai Cooperation is the grouping of Western countries and consolidate the Eastern countries. I mean, it is a grouping of Eastern countries against the Western countries. Consolidation of Eastern countries to have an equal weightage of power with where? Western countries. Yes, and during that period, Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting was organized. Yes, so that is the virus of conflict is affecting the functioning of SCO. Okay, India and Pakistan both are member of SCO. But what is the problem? Again, the border, same border. When you take India, Pakistan and China, that is a trilateral issue. When you take this Belt and Road Initiative, India is very much interested in writing what? Belt and Road Initiative. India was eagerly waiting to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative because you can see, I can say this with an example. You have an Ambodata port, Ambodata port in Sri Lanka. That port was built by, that is an excellent port, that port was built by China. Yes, everyone see that the China has built a port in Sri Lanka that is seen as a Chinese presence in Sri Lanka, but 95% of the port is used by Indians. Government of India is using it. China is not able to use it. Can you understand? Yes, the port may be built by China, it may be owned by Sri Lanka, but who is utilizing it? Who is benefiting out of it? India. Likewise, India is very eagerly waiting to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative. But what happened? The China-Pakistan economic corridor came. That became a shock. That became a hindrance for India's participation in Belt and Road Initiative. What is the hindrance? Because that roads goes towards the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. What India is asking? I'm saying that you should not build a road in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but you should consult me because that is an issue. That place is a conflict zone where I am the partner of, I am the member of that party. Yes, I'm the member of the conflict. Yes or no? You should have asked me. But what China did, without asking China, without asking India, it signed, it implemented the China-Pakistan economic corridor. India really upset with it, and India forbidden itself from being the participant of what? BRI. Small issues, land issues. Yes, if India was a part of this BRI, yes or no, it has benefited India. Yes or no? land disputes, small conflicts. Yes, that becomes a huge boulders. அது மிகப்பெரிய பாறாங்கல் மாதிரி இருக்கு. எதுல? In the diplomatic relationships. That affects the trade. Yes or no? So that is about SC. Next is India's diaspora scaled new heights in the West. Describe its economic and political benefits for India. This is election. Yes or no? When you take in US, Indians were there and they dominate considerable portion of the Western elections. For example, when you take Canada, in Canada, the Canadian, any party in Canada cannot win the elections in 3 to 4 constituencies because of the high Sikh population there. Yes or no? So when the Akadidal, when the Akadidal party, that is, you can read that the party that was supporting this Khalistan groups, the Khalistan group, Khalistanis. When India encountered a Khalistani leader but India is not saying it, my Canada is asking it. Why you have done an encounter in India? அது போட்டு கொடுத்தது யாருன்னா US தான் போட்டு, இந்தியா தான் பண்ணாங்க. Because that is an internal security issue. Canadian Prime Minister was forced to ask India, forced to complain about India in Indonesian because of the dominance of what? Sikhs in Canada. And there is something called as a soft power. Yes, we'll discuss what is soft power. You have to understand that. What is mean by soft power? See, when you take China and India, you cannot compare China and India in terms of hard power. China is building its own international spaceship. It manufactures its own what? Fighter aircrafts. But our own Tejas met an accident recently and our honorable pilot has sacrificed his life. That is what the situation of India. Having world largest standing army, fastest supercomputers. You cannot compare India and China in terms of hard power. But you cannot compare India and China in terms of soft power. Because China is mostly a homogeneous population. Whereas India is a heterogeneous population. We have so much of language, so much of culture. We have a connect with the global population of the world. For example, you take Buddhism. Buddhism is born in India. The entire Eastern countries, they follow Buddhism. They see India as their holy land. It's a connect. Yes or no? Right from the Indian cinemas. Yes, when you take the recently one Telugu movie that got super hit. What that movie? That you have this famous dance now that has become a super hit in Western countries. How? Because it exactly shows how the British people handled India. Yes or no? They were able to connect the Western countries. That movie was a super hit, and everybody is praising because we were able to connect with the movie. Yes, we can have a connection to the world population through our food diversity. Yes, through arts, through literature. Yes or no? Through history. For example, when you take Iran says India is our brother. Because this relationship is not now, this relationship is for 1,000 years. We share the same culture. Kushana ruled the same, both countries, the same ruler ruled by Kushanas. We had the very biggest statue in Afghanistan. Yes or no? Buddha statue that was being destroyed by this Al-Qaeda. Likewise, we have an integration of culture. We share many things in common with the world population. So what happened? When India approaches UK, yes, maybe the government may negotiate strictly. What this population will do, they indirectly influence their legislators. They indirectly show some kind of interest towards what? India. Yes or no? That is what is called as what? Soft power. Yes. Yes. When you take the soft power, yes, China is very less comparably. But India's soft power is very, very big. You cannot compare. China cannot compare it. And this is what is the diaspora means. Okay. See, next is the expansion and strengthening of NATO and US-Europe strategic partnership works well for India. What is your opinion about this statement? Give reason and an example to support your answer. It's a critical answer. Expansion and strengthening of NATO Yeah, and a stronger US-Europe strategic partnership works well for India. It means indirectly it is asking that whether India can be a part of a NATO or not. Yes or no? It is that the question, right? Expansion and strengthening of NATO and a stronger Europe-US strategic partnership works well for. What is your opinion? India can never be a part of NATO. Why? India is a country that believes in non-violence. We believe in what? Peace. We believe in mutual respect. We believe in coexistence. See, when you want to find our foreign policy, we don't have any codes for foreign policy except indirect principle of state policy. India believes in idealism. Though we practice realism, we uphold idealism. Yes, we will be never ever a part of an organization that targets particular country of violence. It may be works well for US and what? For example, when you take 2023, the same year when India, this question was asked. India was the leader of G20. India was leading SCO, that is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. India was conducting Voice of Global South conference, world conference. Yes, every country was looking for the voice of India against the Russian-Ukraine war. What is the situation of India before 1950? Before 1950, India was not at all considered as a country. It was sidelined from global power talks. Once upon a time, a country which is sidelined from the participation of the global power talks or negotiation, now it is a center of that negotiation. Yes or no? Yes. Whether it may be G20, whether it may be SCO, whether it may be Global South, whether it may be the Ukraine-Russia war. The European countries are saying, India, don't buy your what? Oil from Russia. Yes or no? Yes. India is a center of global politics today. So, in that way, it is asked. Yes. So, what's your opinion? India cannot be a part of NATO. Because when you see the aim of NATO, NATO is to target what? One particular expansion of the country. Okay. Likewise, when you see this International Maritime Organization, see, this is a very important understanding of the UPSC. UPSC is not about reading the theories, asking questions from the theory basis or static part. UPSC is now moving towards more integrated thing. How an international relation is affecting, so it is mingled with what? Environment. Yes or no? You see this question. Sea is an important component of cosmos. Yes, you all know this. Discuss the light of the above statement, the role of the International Maritime Organization in protecting the environment and enhancing the maritime safety and security. Yes. So now you all know the deep sea fishing. Yes. You can see that high sea route. You can see the word called high seas. High seas means those the part of oceans apart from the international maritime. See, apart from a country's boundary up to 12 nautical miles is an international, that is a water border. And from that 200 nautical miles is an economic border. Yes or no? Likewise, you are called as high-rise seas. It means the sea lanes that is independent of what? Independent of maritime border. It means what happened? Imagine you have a land, nobody is going to ask any question you do in that land, whatever do in that house. What people will do? People, for example, you have an empty plot near a house. What people will do after 1 month? You go and see the plot. They dump all their garbages there. Yes or no? So this is what been done by the world countries. They dump all their nuclear waste. They go for exploitation of fishing. Yes. And that has been raised particularly in the United Nations to sign an international deal on the high seas. Okay, we need to bring a protocol. We need to bring those countries of the international countries into a kind of rules and regulations. What you should do in the high seas, that is those areas that is independent of the maritime boundary. You understand? And you can, there is an article that came in Hindu at that time. Okay, that was asked as a question. Okay. Next is, see, now you can see the international relations is not alone with trade. International relations is not alone with security. International relations is also with what? environment. Okay, so it's a fusion question. Okay. Next is the recent crisis. I told you, Czech diplomacy, India bailed out the Sri Lanka. Yes. So India is a age-old friend of Sri Lanka. So you have to see this question from the factor of the emergence of China and the Chinese factors. What kind of challenges this emergence of Chinese has impacted our neighboring countries? Can you understand? So how to see this? So what is the basics, sir? See, after the operation of Vijay, what is operation of Vijay? When you take the South Asia, what do you mean by South Asia? What do you mean by South Asia? So this is South Asia. Okay. The South Asia includes Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar. This is a South Asia. Yes. When you take South Asia is very complex, sir, because these countries are highly porous borders. What do you mean porous borders? Sania Mirza married Pakistani guy. Yes or no? People of Manipur, they are having married relationship with whom? Myanmar people. Nepalis are working in India. Yes or no? Bangladeshis are working in Mumbai. Sri Lankans are working in, so it's a highly and apart from that, we have marital and family bondings. Yes, and the country, but they are separate countries. Okay, so in this unique South Asia, India is a big brother. So what do you mean big brother? I am the head of this region. You should not do anything without the consent of me. It may be an inference from the point of its large population. It may be an inference from the point of its large geographical area. Okay. But when India proved that I am the big brother in 1971, you understand? In 1971, India proved that I am the leader of the South Asia. How? If you are going to work against me, then I will take a part of your country, I will create a new nation. That is why Pakistan still sees India as an identity crisis. What do you mean identity crisis? Oh my God, these Indians will at one point of time will make what? Pakistan, no Pakistan country. Yes or no? We divided the West Pakistan, East Pakistan. East Pakistan is made as what? Bangladesh. And now Pakistan fear factor is one, like we suffered out of Bangladesh, they will take this Balochistan issue and they will going to create a new country called in what? Balochistan. And still we are going to reduce our geographical area to a small area. So Pakistan see India as what? Identity crisis. Or you can say that existential crisis. Existential crisis means the aim of India is to make Pakistan no country. You understand? So the 1971 incident has clearly proved that India is a big brother. Yes. So from 1971 until 2000, 2005, 2010, yes, we have never ever bothered about our neighboring countries' issues. But what happened? Emergence of China. China is giving loans. China is giving checks. China is giving infrastructure deliveries. So the China's factor has played a very important role in the changing the nature of India and Nepal, changing nature of India and Myanmar, changing the nature of relation between India and Bangladesh, changing the nature of relation between India, Maldives, and what? Bangladesh. Sri Lanka. That way, when you take the civil war that happened in Sri Lanka, China has given so much of financial support and also supply of weapons. Yes, and it has given so much of money for its economic reconstruction. But what happened? There was a sovereign debt crisis, and who helped in? So India. So from this question, what you have to understand is, see this: India is an age-old friend of Sri Lanka. So when you see in strategy, yes. So apart from international politics, you have some things called as what? Strategic relations. Yes or no? Defense and strategies. So in defense and strategies, or when you take the political strategy with respect to our neighbors, what is important? You see, patience is important. Yes, you cannot wage a war against Sri Lanka. You have a misunderstanding between India and Sri Lanka. Yes, you can see Maldives just 10 dots in the map. Yes or no? When they say India go out, how dare you can say against me? The moment I think you will not be there, India cannot say like that because it is our neighbor. Yes, so our security is fused with our relationship with our neighbors. Yes, so what we have to do? We have to wait patiently for the opportunity. What is the opportunity? Yes, and China and the new friend Sri Lanka, yes or no? They had a very good times just for 4 to 5 years. And what happened? Sovereign debt bond crisis came. India took this opportunity and used our generous attitude. I said, don't worry, Sri Lanka, I am your best friend. Out of generosity, we helped Sri Lanka. Yes or no? So the India and Sri Lanka relationship is moving to the next level of cooperation. It is not only the word cooperation, integration. So, how to see the very important perspective we should see India's neighborhood policy is, it is not just an relation. Yes, India should not maintain a cordial relationship with Sri Lanka. It is an integration. What do you mean integration? India's economy should integrate with Sri Lanka economy. India's defense should integrate with the defense of whom? Sri Lanka. India's maritime security should be integrated with what? Sri Lanka. India's defense should be integrated with what? Bangladesh. India's economy should be integrated with what? Bangladesh. Yes or no? So in all way, India has to integrate with this neighbor. That is very, very important. So we need to move just from a relation towards what? Integration. We should leave our big brother attitude. Okay. So we have to see them in a very what? Soft. We should have a very, very soft lens towards our neighborhood, and we have to slowly push towards what? The real integration, that is an economic integration. Okay. So in that way, discuss the role in the recent crisis in Sri Lanka. It's a very good, easy question. So you have to say that the fall of Sri Lanka to the Czech diplomacy of China. Yes. So India is an age-old friend. So we have to say that Sri Lanka is our neighbor. We have a very porous border. We have maritime relationship. We have civilization. We share common language. Yes or no? Apart from that, India has to maintain the patience and politeness. We have to wait for the opportunity to counter the Chinese factor. So these kind of initiatives which push India's relation towards another integration. Okay, integration, cooperation, and development. Next is BIMSTEC. This is also a current affairs question. You all know this after the experience of India being the victim of terrorism. India being the victim of terrorism, and many SARC initiatives. See, we even have a SARC university in Delhi. Very good university with respect to law and economics. Yes. So after India being the victim of the Pakistan terrorism and non-cooperation of Pakistan in passing a resolution, India found an alternative to SARC, and that is what is called as what? BIMSTEC. Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Cooperation. Yes. What is BIMSTEC? As I said, our neighboring countries should not have a relation. We should have what? Integration. And how this integration happens? And that integration is depending on the trade. That integration is depending on the economic integration, sharing of the infrastructure. For example, when you take Myanmar, you cannot imagine the northeastern states development without what? Myanmar. You cannot imagine northeastern states development without cooperation of what? Bangladesh. Yes or no? Or else we have to travel all along the Siliguri corridor, some 2,000 kilometers to reach northeastern states. and that became a very important security issue also. So India sees the northeastern states development from the view of the cooperation of Myanmar and Bangladesh. Yes or no? So what we are going to do? You build a road that connects Bhutan, that connects Bangladesh, that connects Myanmar, that reaches up to South China, Thailand. Yes, if this infrastructure is built, and there will be a real integration. Yes or no? So you have to understand the real integration of economy is a real what? The bond we establish. See, everything I'll give the notes. Everything I will give the notes. Okay, everything I have the copy, and I have given a book that is updated up to May 2026. Okay, what are the things? What are the, for example, when you take India and Nepal, okay, up to May 2026, what happened? India and Sri Lanka up to May, you just go through it. Okay, to go through it, this kind of analysis is very, very important. So I need to make, in the first class, rather than going to the static topic, I need to make the class more comfortable. Okay, see, when I say anything, you should not be able to integrate as a chain. Okay, now you see this. So now you can have an idea. So BIMSTEC is not just, it is not just a grouping of countries. Yes, you all know the Chinese factor now. Yes or no? Yes. So how you can counter the Chinese factor? Why these countries are moving towards Chinese factor? For what? For development, for getting money. Yes. If India's success of countering China depends upon the successful economic and trade integration of the neighboring countries. Hey, don't depend on China, yaar. We built our own what? Infrastructure. We do our own business. We'll emerge as a superior, economically superior country, developed country. How can we do this, sir? We will take BIMSTEC. Through BIMSTEC, we'll trade, we will make so much of what? Agreements. We'll build a bridge, we'll build a road like, I mean, you know, built and ruined, BRI like China is building. And through this economic integration, we were successfully able to counter whom? China. Okay. So in that way, even today, BIMSTEC is very, very important. Next is this I2, Israel, UAE, USA grouping, transfer India's position in global politics, but that is a failure today. Yes. Sometimes we have to learn idealism saves us. Strategic autonomy saves us. See why we started integrating with India, Israel, and USA. Okay. India, Israel, USA is for technology. India needs technology. Yes. So India believed that, yes, by being close with Israel, we can learn so much of defense technology. For example, the Iron Dome, which is a failure today. India believed and see the Iron Dome has wondered, oh my God, no missile can enter into India. This fellow is having that kind of technology. I want that technology. Yes or no? India is a victim of terrorism. So India want US, India want Israel for its technology. India want US and UAE for its capital. Both the countries need India for its human resource. Yes, all these countries will see India as a potential what? Buyer. Yes or no? Yes, Israel supplies so much. Israel's very important customer is whom? India. US is very important customer is whom? India. Yes, and UAE can invest so much in India. Okay, so this is a very, in those times it is seen as a very successful grouping. Yes, but what happened today? We need to be always neutral. We should not take sides. Yes, for example, I tell you very important decision. In 2007, when in 2005-6, when Mr. Manishankar was the petroleum minister, he tried to build an important pipeline, IPI pipeline. What do you mean by IPI pipeline? Iran, Pakistan, India pipeline. You all know this. We have the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, which supplies what? Free cylinders or subsidized cylinders to India's women. Annually, we pay around 15,000 crores for it. Visioning that needs of the gas, Iran is the largest, next to Venezuela, which is having the largest petroleum deposits. It is the Iran is having, and it is our neighboring country. What is the problem? Pakistan is in between it. So we went for a negotiation. Pakistan also accepted, and the agreement is about to sign, but that was disturbed by US. And immediately the next day, Manishankar was removed from the petroleum minister, and he was posted as what? The sports minister. The point here is, Iran is a very important strategic partner of India because we are deficit of what? Energy. We are not only deficit of energy, we are deficit of dollar. Yes or no? When you take 2025, the very important current affairs is internationalization of money. Why internationalization of money? When you take $1, 1 rupee is equal to how much dollar? Nearly $100, for example. You take it. It creates a huge trade deficit. It creates a current account deficit. It further depreciates India's money. Yes or no? Iran was a country that was willing to sell India its oil in terms of Indian rupee, like we sell to what? Russia. It is not today, in 2007 itself, through the Asian Clearance Union. What happened now? USA was started framing one issue on Iran. Iran is doing nuclear research. Iran is creating nuclear bombs. And for what this nuclear bomb? This nuclear bomb is to supply to the terrorists. Why they are going to supply the terrorists? Because they are the enemies of Israel. Okay. So in the Palestine terrorists, they are going to give this nuclear research. So US started blaming India. The money you are giving to Iran is being utilized for the nuclear research. India immediately stopped buying oil from whom? Iran. Imagine, the next door, Iran is there. We compromise our relationship with Iran for the sake of getting the relationship with US and Israel, because we thought that this kind of integration is going to fetch India with an unlimited access to technology and capital. What happened today? Yes or no? India is suffering from current account deficit. The Prime Minister is saying, don't buy things. Yes or no? So we have to take the decision for ourselves. We should not compromise. Yes, India is a very, very, very good partner in that. See, we have mastered that art. See, we do a military exercise in Russia. The next week, we do a Air Force exercise with US. You understand? We signed the Cartisa agreement with USA. The next time, we will buy this S-400 anti-missile equipment from Russia. We have the diplomacy, but we have underestimated our energy security. We thought that we have UAE. Yes, we thought that we have Saudi Arabia for supply. Okay, but if you have materialized Iran's resource to India's supply, because 85% of resource, the oil is imported. Sir, how you are saying that? It may be your projection, sir. But how you counter this? How you give a valid example? I tell you, China signed a $14 million agreement with Iran. Iran supplies oil and China supplies raw material, resistors, diodes. Yes or no? How excellent this agreement is. This is equal to some 1 ton of Tirupati laddus. Yes or no? Such a good agreement. India has missed it. Being a neighboring country, being a country where we have the cultural association, India failed to raise its voice against US. Or India failed to take a decision against US because we underestimated the energy crisis. But today, the last 2 years, energy crisis is a very important problem that is affecting it. Yes or no? Yes. But we are not saying that India underestimated it. India thought that it will be more beneficial to have the technology access, the military and weapons technology access from US and Israel. But what happened? Yes, their 1 lakh rupees missile. Yes, they are not able to be counter what? 10,000 rupees. What you can say that? The aircraft. What that aircraft is? Drones of what? Iran. Yes or no? But the energy crisis is same. Everyone is struggling for cylinders. Everyone is struggling for getting petrol and diesel. Yes or no? So this is a lesson actually. Okay. Energy is order of the day. Describe briefly India's changing policy towards climate change and various international fora in the context of geopolitics. Yes or no? So what clean energy is order of the day. What is clean? Why order of the day? Because when you take the climate change impacts, you have the forest fire in Canada, you have the floodings in Germany. Yes or no? You have the cloud burst of what? Himachal Pradesh. That was the previous question. Jammu and Kashmir, in Bangalore, urban flooding. You have this Udantu Islands that is losing 25% of the GDP because of cyclones. Yes or no? The number of cyclones in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea has increased. The world largest, the largest river of China. What is that river? Yellow River. It got dried up in the history. These are all the impact of climate change. And who is responsible for it? The Western countries. 80% of the carbon greenhouse emission. Yes, for example, when you take the methane gas, 55% of the emission is coming from US alone. So without the participation of US, how you can able to control the global warming? Because one methane molecule is equal to 80 molecules of what? Carbon dioxide. Yes, sir, geopolitics. So when you compel the US to abide by this United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, US says, who are you to dictate me? I'm going out of this. Yes or no? Trump went out. This is geopolitics. Okay. Next is, describe briefly India changing polity towards climate change in various international fora in the context of geopolitics. Yes, okay, fine. India is, for example, when you take the India's nationally determined contribution, our agenda that is given after the Paris Agreement, we say that by 2030, 33% of the GDP will be coming from non-renewable energy. India achieved by 2025 itself. Okay, fine. So what is the impact when a country adapts a renewable source? It will compromise, it has to compromise on its economic growth. Yes or no? When I close all the thermal power plant, the shift from thermal to the solar, it needs investment. All the people are working on the coal fields, all the people are working in they don't have employment. Yes or no? Energy become costly. This will impact my growth. I have to compromise on the growth. So no Western countries is ready to compromise on the growth. That is the politics here. Yes, fine. And this transition is costly. And you don't have equipments. For example, when you can harvest, energy from the wind in the sea. Yes, you have to connect it to the national grid. You don't find such equipments to fit in. So this transition is costly. Have India has to adapt it? Yes. India has to adapt it, but not at the cost of its what? Economic compromises. India is having one of the world's largest population. And we are the lowest emitter. That is very important. We may be, in volumes, we may emit large. Based on the per capita income, we are the lowest. Yes or no? So we have to revisit. This is the statement that is discussed in this economic survey of 2025. What it discussed? We have to revisit our policies of transition. We have to take the lessons from the Western countries who try to adopt the energy transition but failed deliberately because of not having a proper equipments and infrastructure. Yes, so that is what this. So again, this is an international relation question, but it is fused with what? Environment. Okay, friends. Next is, in the last few decades, Asia's growth story, the next few expected to be Africa. In the light of the statement, explain what? India's influence in Africa recent years. This is again a very easy question. You all know this. Once upon a time, we are the largest producer, and then because of imperialism and colonialism, we lost our production centers. Again, Asia is emerging as one of the largest producer. And the next producer is whom? Africa. In what way India is going to influence it? So India has identified the next immediate growth is where is going to happen? Africa. So if India has to earn more, then it has to engage with what? Developing countries. So India, as I said, India is not going to give money because India don't have. What is India is going to give? India is going to share our experience. India is going to share our experience of food security, our energy experience of digital payments. Yes or no? Our experience of highest milk production. Yes or no? So we have done so much of revolution. Or you can say that we have the Jawaharlal Nehru solar mission that has crossed 500 gigawatts. Yes, when you take the African countries, they are the part of the International Solar Alliance. India can share its experience of renewable energy resource to whom? Africa. Not from the point of dictating terms, as a point of mutual respect and cooperation. The simple question. Yes or no? US is facing an existential threat in the form of China that is more challenging than erstwhile Union. The same question is repeating. Yes or no? Yes. What is an existential crisis? Now China is emerging because you focused only on the finance. You focused only on whom? Share markets. But China focused on production of goods. So the real economic growth happens only by production, not in share market, not out of finance, not out of services. Yes or no? So the Western countries thought by controlling the finance, by controlling the services and capital, we can able to lead the economy. But China, yes or no? The same things. Convergence, divergence concept. Okay? So it is challenging more union than the Soviet thing. See how China was able to do it. Soviet Union is able to counter US. How it countered US? For example, in 1990, when 1989, when Soviet Russia disintegrated, they estimated the different experiments, nuclear warheads they have manufactured. Soviet Union was 15 years ahead of USA. You all know that they only invented machine gun, yes or no? Yes, Soviet Union able to counter the growth of US by what? By a counter economic policy, that is socialism. Yes or no? That is a socialism, Marxism, Leninism, the great leaders. Yes. But China is doing the same thing, not by socialism, by converting the socialism to adapt the market-based economy. That is a market socialism. Yes or no? Yes, China is never ever going for any political propaganda like USSR. Hey, you join with me. You become a communist country. You develop. China never go for that kind of propagation. Yes or no? Yes, China adapted the capitalism and it created a new formula called market socialism. It invented special economic zones. See, entire many programs what we follow is a copy of the model of what? China. It means that we are not copying, we are taking the experience. Yes or no? A wise man always takes the experience of the others. Yes or no? So China was able to counter USA within the existing capitalistic framework. Yes or no? Yes. And also when you take in terms of technology, yes, in terms of man, everywhere China was able to counter what? US. Okay, so you have to explain that. And as I told you, what are the aims and objectives of SCO? The same aim to consolidate East by solving the dispute of border problems through negotiation, compromise, and consensus. That's all. Okay. When you take this tri-nation partnership, it is aimed to counter China's ambition. The same US. Okay. See, China is emerging as a superpower. And this democratic country, that is UK, Australia, US, these countries, they are having a fear factor on looking at China. So what they will do? So they are going for an alternative power to counter the China's growth. How you can counter China's growth? You cannot ask India to wage war against China. But you can make India a production center of the world. Yes, when India is producing, manufacturing goods, when India's economy is growing as equal with whom? China. Then the emergence of China as a global power probability is what? Reduced. Yes or no? So countering in China through India means it is not giving the weapons to us, you go and hit China. No. We are having the same political population. We have the same political not political population. We have the same number of population as equal to China. Yes or no? We are also developing country. China is also a developing country. Okay. So how you can counter China's growth? By making India more successful. How you can make India more successful? Okay. You call India, you transfer the technology, you buy goods from India. This is how you are going to what? Counter it. Can you understand? Next is critically examine the role of WHO in health crisis. Again, it is a fusion of international relation and health security. India's diaspora, decisive role to play in politics and economy of American and European countries. I told you about that soft power. Then the quadrilateral security talk is itself into a trade bloc from a military alliance. I already told you. That's all. Yes or no? India doesn't want to project US Quad as a military alliance. It is a trade where we cooperate, where we share technology, where we bring investments, and where we ensure our security. That's all. With the significance of US deals or the Indo-Russian defense deals, discuss the reference to stability in India, Indo-Pacific question. The same thing. See, this is the overall last 5 years question. Now I think that you have a comfortableness, you have a brief idea what the next year question has to be. So in mains, the very important classes should be what is the you have to predict the questions. That is where you become successful. You cannot prepare every nook and corner. By clearly understanding the changing dynamics of the questions, you have to compare the changing dynamic of the questions with the contemporary newspapers, articles. Based on that, you have to predict questions. That is where you become successful. You can easily score marks. Okay. And in international relations, you can put so much of what? The diagrams, block diagrams. Okay. You can reduce the number of words. And in international relations, you can go straight to the answers. Can you understand? Let us see the analysis, question paper analysis. So what is the thematic breakdown? So the section, we have seen Sri Lanka. Yes or no? So India's neighborhood and extended neighborhood. Okay. So it is a deep map research, energy critical zones, diplomatic economic links with the Central Asian republics. So the first you have to focus on articles based on neighborhood and extended neighborhood means the 8 countries. Extended neighborhood means Uzbekistan, Iran, and Central. They are extended neighborhoods. Next is, as I told you, it was constantly asking about BIMSTEC. So in today's current affairs, which organization was highly written in editorials? See, this group is going to give India more benefits. You can see the trend in the last 4 months. Can you understand? Yeah. Yes. Next is the global governance and multilateral institutions. Yes. Next is the soft power diaspora and macro geopolitical shifts. Okay. So this is a weightage of the marks. Now I hope that you will have a brief understanding of what India, this international relations, how we are going to prepare. So what we are going to do is, okay, we are going to exactly follow the same trend. We are going to, rather than going into the basics, we'll take our classes in a very dynamic way. Okay, we'll see some main issues in the international institutions. We'll see some main issues in the neighborhood and extended neighborhood. Yes, and we can see some main issues in the international institution. Main groupings. Okay, it may be BIMSTECs. Okay, or it will be BNI. Okay, sorry, BBIN. Okay, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal. Okay, you see that. Okay. Okay. So now let us discuss about India's neighborhood. In that, we'll see about the basics of some of the basics. Okay. See, these are all the basics, okay? Okay, so what is foreign policy? Okay, what is the role? What are the political institutions? Okay, so everything that is going to be in the book that is when given by the institute. Okay, now let us go to the state. Let us see this part. Okay, let us start with this part. Or you can say that the external factors. Okay. See, when you see this systemic, or you can say that the external factors, okay, in what way that is going to affect India, that is very, very important. See, for that, you have to understand what is the difference between a national politics and international politics. Just say me. See, in national politics, you have a constitution and you have a state structure to uncompromisingly implement that according to the constitution. Yes or no? Yes. When you take in India, you may have so many political players. You have so many organizations. Yes, you may have so many NGOs, political organizations, or you can say that violent group. But everything is controlled by the constitution. That is a mandatory condition that was implemented by whom? The state structure. But if you take international relations, though you have United Nations, what happened in Israel-Palestine relationship? Yes, the world has seen a genocide. Yes or no? Israel is cutting down the food supply. It is cutting down electricity supply. Israel is cutting down the hospitality. Israel is cutting down the food supply. Everything it is cutting down. And the people are made to suffer out of hunger. The world is watching it. But the United Nations Human Rights Commission is struggling to prove that it is a genocide. It is verifying with its statutory provisions or what is happening there, whether it exactly matches the statutory provisions of human rights. This is one. So here, though you have United Nations, though we have human rights organization, yes, in international politics, you don't have a mandatory rule book. You don't have what? A compelling institutions. You understand? So all the countries here are what? Independent. They can do anything. Nobody is there to control. Can you understand? Yes. In that, so that only our India's decision is highly, differentiating depending upon the political ecosystem of the world. Can you understand? Yes. See, when you see this, so when you see so India's national choices is highly determined by the international power structure. Okay. The shift from the unipolar world to multipolar world. Now it is what? From the unipolar world to bipolar world, and from bipolar world to that is a shift happening. Okay. From once upon a time, the world is dominated by the USA and USSR. And then it is dominated by the USA alone. So that is a shift from bipolar to unipolar. Now, from unipolar, it is going towards what? Multipolar. What even multipolar means? Treating all countries equally. All countries, they demand their voices to be heard in the international institutions. Nobody can control me. Nobody can dominate my choices. This is what is called as shift. So this is the current shift. Current shift is from the unipolar world towards the multipolar worlds. Next is, once upon a time, the whole world organized under one single institutions. What are those one single institutions? For example, you take the World Trade Organization. Yes, so World Trade Organization was seen as a very important institution in 2008, 2009, 2010. Because all the countries, they break their economy, they integrate with the world. And who is leading that integration? World Trade Organization. What is today? World Trade Organization become a rubber stamp. Nobody is going to obey its rules and regulations. But still India abide by the World Trade Organization rules and regulations. Even when US disproportionately taxed Indian goods, we wrote a letter to whom? That is a formality. We have done that. It means that we abide with the world institutions. Okay. So now, once upon a time, the world organized itself against one single organization. Now it's grouped under what? Many groups. Okay. So they are moving towards more decentralized regional groupings. Okay, it is like a cycle. So before globalization, what happened? Before globalization also, they were only regional circles. So globalization integrated the regional circle into one big circle. And again, what happened? They are breaking down into small regional circles. Okay. And the next is geography and regional situations. Okay. So this might be a very important question as the Gulf of Hormuz importance was felt recently. Okay. And next is rule-based international order. If China is not going to obey the UNCLOS, that has a serious impact of India's decision in Indian Ocean. Yes or no? We cannot sit simply and we cannot see what? China. Yes, but okay, China, we are coupled economy. We are exceeding a trade deficit of more than 100 billion. Okay, fine. But anyway, any small sign of assertiveness has to be counted then and there appropriately. To counter this China's assertiveness, what we have to do? We need a grouping. So even China doesn't do something in the South China Sea or Indian Ocean, we immediately call all our democratic friends, Japan, democratic friends, France, democratic friends, Australia, democratic friends in whom? US. Okay, this is the external factor. So now let us go straightly into the India and its neighborhood policy. We'll look at least one country today. Okay, let us start with this SARC and BIMSTEC. Okay, let us discuss India's neighborhood foreign policy. These two groups are very important because who are all the members of this group? These are our neighbors. See, when you take this SARC, it was started in 1985 in Dhaka. This is the history. You see the members: Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. Okay. So as of May 2006, SARC largely remains an intrinsic where it means nobody is bothered about what? SARC. Can you understand? Yes. So the 19th summit has been in Olympus in 2016. However, functional cooperation continues to specialized bodies like this. I told you, the university. Yes, in India, we have a SARC university and we have a SARC development fund in Bhutan. Okay. It is functioned only through these bodies, but a proper ministerial meeting of the leaders of the countries have never met since 2016. It means SARC is in dormant. It is an in dormant position. Can you understand? Yes. Why? Why? Because of whom? Because of Pakistan. The reasons for the SARC's failure. It's a simple. India-Pak rivalry. Yes or no? When you take among the SARC members, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, they are very small countries. The two considerably big countries is who? Pakistan. When they are fighting, then how it can be functional? Next is asymmetry. India is a big brother. Yes or no? For example, we have a very big population. We have a very big economy. Next is trust deficit. Okay. So lack of connectivity, lack of political will to implement agreements. Next is the growing Chinese footprint in South China through the Belt and Road Initiative. All the countries that are willing to participate with China. Can you understand? So, the future of SARC depends on neighborhood. It's very simple. Now you can easily understand. Okay. So, in South Asia, these are the countries. South Asia politics is very crucial because they are very highly integrated, porous countries, the family tie-ups. Okay. In terms of security, South Asia relationship is very crucial for India. For that, real international relation depends upon the economic integration. For that, we have created SARC, but SARC is a failure. What India has done? India established this BIMSTEC, okay, connecting 5 South Asian countries, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Thailand, okay. So what is current today? Rather than talking, we have to engage where? We have to work, we have to start doing something. As I told you, the economic integration is the real international relation, okay. So the recent summit that happened in 2004, I mean, when you take in 2004, they adopted a BIMSTEC charter. And what is that charter? We are focused on prosperous, resilient. Resilient means whatever might be the world, global economic situation might be. Our economy should be what? Able to take it. Resilient and what? Open. Okay. BIMSTEC members have a common goal of maritime security. Yes, when you take SARC, SARC doesn't work on maritime because Pakistan doesn't have any role with Indian Ocean. But it is an additional thing. So through BIMSTEC, we are not only increasing our economic integration, yes, we are assuring our maritime security through the cooperation with these countries. Okay. So the common maritime security in the Bay of Bengal and the lack of paralyzing bilateral found in SARC. See, when you compare SARC, it is regional, it is inter-regional. Okay. So it is it includes Myanmar. When you take it includes Pakistan, Afghanistan. It excludes Pakistan, Afghanistan, which is land-based territory, but it includes what? Thailand and Myanmar. So it is an inter-regional. Next is high cultural unity, organic unity. It links South Asia, Asia. Pakistan is a rivalry. Okay, the only issue in the BIMSTEC country is the instability of Myanmar. We can see that in detail in the India-Myanmar relationship. So you have a civil war between the ruling Junta government that is backed by the national military, and you have the other rivalry group, okay, the local indigenous people. They have formed one group, okay. Now 60% of territory is with that rival group. And when you take today's news, the Myanmar president the Junta person has come to India. He just requested India not to support that rivalry group. Please stand with us. Okay. So now India is in a confusion. See, India doesn't want to do anything with the internal politics of Myanmar. Okay. But as a government, I can talk only with the government. Now, who is going to form the government? That is a confusion there. Yes. So India is going to politely wait. If they are going to win, they form the government. India is going to have the negotiation with that people. That is the indigenous war group people. Or if Junta is able to retain the power, then we are going to have a negotiation with Junta. The point is that. But 60 to 70% of the power, it went to the indigenous rivalry group. So that is one disturbing factor here. Next is India's policy. So by working well with BIMSTEC, we are simultaneously getting successful in Act's policy and neighborhood first policy. Okay. So when you take BIMSTEC, okay, BIMSTEC is not, for India, BIMSTEC is not just a SARC minus Pakistan, but it's a strategic vehicle to integrate the northeastern states. As I told you, the entire development of northeastern states happens only by integrating Myanmar, integrating Thailand, integrating Bangladesh with India. Okay. So SARC remains only a platform for all South Asia country, whereas BIMSTEC is a more functional and energetic alternative for regional. Okay. So we'll stop with today. The next class will rush up, okay, with the India and extended neighborhood in the first 1 hour, and we'll see with the India's relationship with US and Russia. Okay. In subsequent classes, we'll try to cover all the international global architecture, okay, and also the fused thing. And we'll align our classes with the editorials of the last 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, guys. So what you are going to do is You take the June month newspaper, you find all the editorials, you fix that editorial with the skeleton of our question paper analysis, you tick the editorials. Okay, definitely I'm going to send the questions based on the editorials. You write and see the mains answer. And definitely I say you can get 75% of the marks. Okay, guys? So the very important process in UPSC is believing the process of preparation. Okay, so your process of preparation is, rather than depending on the, the telegram or some other notes, okay, somebody's notes, you take the editorials, okay, you will be getting around 25 to 25 editorials. That's all in the last 3 to 4 months. You work on it, okay, and you will have an ability to generate answers on whatever mode the questions is asked. Okay, definitely you can able to answer 75% of the question asked. Okay, guys, see you next class. We'll meet in the economics class on Friday. ஏதாவது டவுட்ஸ் இருக்கா உங்களுக்கு? கேட்கணுமா? இல்லை டவுட்ஸ் ஐஆர் ப்ரிப்பரேஷனில் ஏதாவது வேறு ஏதாவது உங்களுக்கு டவுட்ஸ் இருக்கா? இல்லை இருந்தால் சொல்லுங்க. I came with an idea that after this class you should have a very clear picture of what I am going to do the next days for IR. I hope that you got the picture. Yes.